wherever you may be in our country and beyond. We thank God that He has enabled us to enter the festive season at the end of the year. Traditionally, our Jamhuri celebrations as Kenyans have usually raised the curtain to a joyous period for the entire global community. Our Jamhuri activities usually flow into an extended season that merges with Christmas and the New Year festivities. It is usually time to forget some of the challenges through the year and to join our friends and families in joyous activities. Accordingly, we send the festive season's greetings to the friends of our Kenyan nation throughout the world. And at this juncture, congratulate the people of Ghana for a tremendous show of democratic achievement. Therefore, President Mahama and the team, we congratulate you and we wish you well together with the great people of Ghana. Nonetheless, we remain conscious of the hard times facing a majority of Kenyans, both as individuals and families this year. It has been a very difficult season, marked by huge unemployment, heavy taxation, confusion in healthcare, lack of direction in education because of the unclear direction in the rash implementation of the CBC education, oppressive university education funding, insecurity, impunity, state opulence, and a rigid government that does not listen to anybody. Still, let us not give up on the joy that has traditionally come with the Jamhuri and Christmas season. It is remarkable that this season is also marked by the International Anti-Corruption Day, which is marked today, the 9th December, and International Human Rights Day, which will be celebrated everywhere in the world tomorrow on December the 10th. Then there is also the climax of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, which has gone on for slightly over 2 weeks now. Put together with Jamhuri Day on Thursday this week, this is a truly significant season. We are called upon to solemnly reflect about the import and wider relevance of some of these remarkable days as citizens of our country and citizens of the greater global community. We are especially called upon to do an honest audit of our performance as a Kenyan nation in all the spaces that are being celebrated this week. What is the reading of our human rights record? For instance, what are we doing about winning the war against gender-based violence? What is the state of our self-determination as an independent nation? And what have been the dividends of independence through the years? What gains have been made, even under the Kenya Kwanza regime? How have state authorities cushioned the citizens to give them meaningful comfort in what is traditionally a season of celebration after odious labor throughout the year? We regret that little of the ending year has brought us any good as a people. Our collective national life has been troubles, nothing but troubles. There is indeed very little to celebrate under the Kenya Kwanza regime that must make the heroes of our independence turn in their graves. The present regime stands for negations and reversals of all the promises and hopes of Jamhuri in 1963. The founders of our nation freed us from the yoke of oppression and colonialism. This regime is keenly bent on reversing this gain by restoring both physical and psychological torture. Our human rights record is at an all-time low. Good governance as promised under self-determination is in a terrible spin. Violence against women and the exclusion in important spheres is at an all-time high. An average of cases, 196 of gender-based violence against women are reported every day. When this should be the week of celebration, therefore, it can at best be only a week of grave reflection. Images of marooned families in the middle of heavy downpours and floods still haunt the conscience of men and women of goodwill. Forced demolitions still continue even today under one pretext or the other. The objective is to grab public under the amorphous so-called, quote-unquote, affordable housing project. This project is shrouded in blatant opaqueness. This can only speak to corruption in high places in a compromised national state. Unfortunately, when Kenyans ask questions about this opaque project, they are accused of being unpatriotic, tribal, hostile to the government, and idle. Indeed, wenye pepo mbaya. Both the opacity and the hostility by the state against inquiry speak to only one thing: corruption. We have bad news for President William Ruto and his pawns. No amount of blackmail or intimidation will make us relent on asking questions about corruption in our country. We are going to talk about corruption, and we are going to fight it too. Like we did. We went to court against the Andani JKI takeover. No amount of threats, intimidation, abductions, and disappearances, or even killings, will stop us from demanding accountability. We are not just asking. We actually demand accountability. It is in accordance with the rule of law, in accordance with our Constitution 2010. It has also been a season of confusion and unrest in our schools, in our hospitals, and in our universities. No university is a glaring example of misrule. We have seen confusion in our airports, and across the countries, all owing to what can only be described as felonious conduct by Kenya's national executive. Professional staff in these places are spent months at a time on strike. The government has failed to honor legitimate collective bargaining agreements with teachers, with university lecturers, with doctors and other health workers, as well as with university staff. Other Kenyans have gone on strike out of fear of loss of jobs and livelihoods due to reckless decisions and actions by a short-sighted and uncaring government that entered into such shameful deals as the obscure Adani tenders. There are such fears in the Airports Authority and among members